And we'll talk about the videos. So here we are in the final week of effective copywriting. You guys did it. Yay. What's next month? It's next week. It's Monday. You start design research. So on Wednesday, I'll kind of give you a little overview of what's coming at you with Professor Argo and how things kind of shift a little and ramp up a little bit more. Nothing to be concerned about, but I'm going to give you some tips to get you started off for next month. And everybody did great with their videos this week. I was really impressed with the different directions that I saw, the different clips that people found. They didn't just like use what was in the folder. They found stuff on their own. They wrote really intriguing scripts that stuck to the brand voice and produced them really well. Everybody got feedback, and that's kind of what's happening this week is we're doing revisions. Because why? First thought, best thought only worked for poet Allen Ginsberg, and the rest of us have to revise. Sometimes I think he should have revised too, but I won't even go there. Okay, so let me pull up what we got going on this week so I can walk us through it. Oops. Clicking the wrong button. Okay, so what we're working on this week is revisions to the entire Lucky Dog Rescue Orlando campaign. So we are going to be working on revising the print ad, revising the audio spot, and revising the video spot. If you didn't get feedback saying you had to fix something, then you're good. But you can always go back and look at it, especially since it's been a few days for the video spot, a couple weeks for the print and the radio spot. You can actually look at your work with fresh eyes because you've stepped away from it for a minute. Okay, so this week we're learning about writing for new media or digital media or interactive media. They all mean the same thing, but I think new media is a little old. I have to kind of change that up. I'm kind of old, so I stick to the old stuff. But it's not really that new anymore, except the AI portion of it is new. So it technically is still new media. But when you're writing for the digital space, it's a little different. So we're going to cover that in the lectures and the research. With the Volkswagen case study, we're going to see how they came out of the big emission scandal and, broke all that brand trust and how they're working on getting it back. And then the design challenge is all about looking at each other's work and making sure that you're tightening up your 3 pieces for your Lucky Dog Rescue Orlando cohesively branded campaign so that you have stuff to add to your online portfolio later in the year. The knowledge check, man, you guys rocked it last week. Lots of 100s. It's all in the book, so you know that. And Mastery Journal, we're going to do the video reflection. But let me walk through everything one step at a time. So with writing for new media, we're going to be thinking about how people ingest media in different forms. So with print, you wrote ads because people can take their time with it. With audio, you have to write a specific way so that your message is being ingested by that listener so that they understand what is actually going on and they're going to respond to that call to action. And then with video, you're doing the same thing, but you're making sure that what's happening visually on the screen is also connecting with the words that are being spoken. So each kind of media has a different type of writing. If you're writing for an annual report, it's going to be more formal. It's going to be a lot long. I know every annual report I did was at least 4 to 12 pages and lots of graphs and talking about SWOT analyses and projections and all that, businessy stuff. So having to write for an annual report is different too. So the Felton textbook kind of gives you some insights into all of it. So you guys used it this month. You're going to be using it again next month, and it's really going to be a handy asset for you as you move forward into the thesis months. Okay. So last week we learned about how Volkswagen blew up the brand and they kind of, lied on their emission scandal. Because you never get found out if you lie, especially a giant brand. So it comes out, the brand blows up, and now they're working on recuperating the brand and getting those loyal customers back and not scaring off any new potential customers. Because even though they have this promise of the new future with these affordable electric vehicles, if in the back of your mind you're not a Volkswagen brand loyalist and you're thinking about an electric vehicle, the Volkswagen emission scandal might linger and you might have some doubt about the brand. So what Volkswagen did first was apologize, and we saw that last week in the case study. And they really throw themselves down on the sword and took the full blame for it, and they admitted to screwing up. So now what they want to do is let everybody know that that will never happen again, that now they are really dedicated to the planet and creating these new vehicles that are going to really help the environment, and they're going to have long miles per charge and all that good stuff, and they charge up fast. Matter of fact, I saw an ID4 when I was out running errands this morning. So they have this new little electric compact, which is kind of a crossover. It's a little bigger than a sedan, a little smaller than an SUV, but it's still kind of cool looking. I like it. It was the electric bus and that Super Bowl commercial that kicked off this entire case study for me. I go back to the Volkswagen brand from when I was a kid, and my dad owned a Volkswagen exclusive repair shop on Long Island, and we had every Volkswagen, including the bus. The bus was actually the first car I ever drove sitting on my dad's lap, and had the big flat steering wheel, so you can drove like that. So when the new electric bus came out, the ID Buzz, and it was so well done, that commercial that's right down here. It really triggered something in me that they really are trying to not only recuperate the brand, but to remind all car drivers that their brand has this very rich history. So when you do the throwback to the lemon ad from way back in early 1960s, what they're doing is they're making lemonade out of what was the lemons of the emission scandal. So they rebranded, they did this tightened up version of the logo. I actually watched them. There's a dealership across from my neighborhood, so I watched them change out the sign when it was happening. Not that I went there, it was just happening as I was driving by. So this week, you just want to see how a brand goes about regaining that customer trust, because there's so many choices out there. You go to buy ice cream and there's an entire aisle just of ice cream, or seltzers. How many seltzers do they have to be? And what's the difference between a seltzer and a vodka drink? And it's just so many choices out there. How do you differentiate yourself to stand out from the rest? So I think what Volkswagen really leaned on was their very vast history. They really spoke to not only those brand loyalists that maybe, people in their 60s that drove, Volkswagens back in the day that might still be driving Volkswagens now, but they're trying to show the younger generations that may not have thought about a Volkswagen, that how dedicated they are to the environment and the future they are. So I thought they did a pretty good job with that. And I'm still waiting for the ID Buzz to show up at the dealership across the street. Okay. So, design challenge, critique and refine. This is just like you've been doing. What I want you guys to do is, this is important. Find the classmate listed after you. So that's going to be fine, except Amelia, if you're watching this on the video, Michael Logan doesn't have any work posted, so just skip. So just follow the person that comes after you. If there's no work, then move forward. You're going to give them some insights into their cohesively branded campaign for Lucky Dog Rescue. Really look at how the copy is written. Tell me about if the storytelling is good. Let them know it's good. Or if there's something that's missing in the print ad or the scripts for the audio or the video that you paid attention to, give some insights. It's not just about, giving everybody 2 thumbs up and saying, oh, your work was just fabulous, because that doesn't help anybody. Every time I look at my own work after stepping away from it for a while, I can always find something that needs to be fixed. Like, ooh, that logo really does need to scooch over a little bit, or ooh, these columns are too close together, or ooh, there's an upcut in that video transition. Let me fix that. So look at their work as if you were the art director and you were going to choose who was going to take on the Lucky Dog Rescue Orlando campaign, and really examine the print ad, the radio spot, and the video spot, and give some really good feedback to your classmates so that everybody walks out of this class with a really strong campaign to put in a portfolio. So on Wednesday, you want to, in the completion area, have your 100 word minimum critique, meaning it needs to be more than 100 words. So feel free to write as much as you want. In my class, I know we give you these word counts, but if you want to write more, go right ahead. I have no problem with that. Then by Friday, you'll have your feedback from your classmates. You have all your feedback from me on all of the pieces. So you want to go ahead and you want to really refine those designs and make sure the copy's really tight, that the alignment, the hierarchy, all that's in the print ad, that the video spot and the audio spot really are intriguing and sound good, and the music's not too loud, and you don't like rush through the script, or you have a lot of dead air because you're trying to make the script 30 seconds and you ran out of words. So make sure everything is tight. Okay. So what you want to do is you're going to, like in your other classes, reply to the peer who wrote you the critique, show them the results of your refinements. Then what I want you to do, I didn't cover this part. I want everybody to take on an optional challenge. This is required. You can do another print ad. You can either do the print ad that's option 2, which is create a second print ad that looks like the first one, or you can skip over that and go to option 3, which is write a Lucky Dog Rescue Orlando print ad based on the creative brief and the brand voice and tone and look and feel, and design it your own way. So you can create your own composition layout any way you want. With the audio spot, you can do a second one that's a different maybe tone, or if you want to do a 15-second version of the one you did, that's fine. With the video spot, same thing. Take on a short version one, like a 15 or even a 20. I wouldn't mind if somebody did 20. Or, take and do a completely new 30 that's got a different look and feel to it, but it still aligns with that creative brief. Okay. So make sure that is all done by Friday, just like your regular design challenge deadline. We're finishing up the Felton book this week, and we're starting with postmodernism. So find the first point where he mentions postmodernism in the book and just follow it along, and you will have the book completed and a 100 test. Okay. This one I want to spend some time on because sometimes I have students talk about software and I don't want you to. So we're doing a 2 to 3 minute video reflecting on the concepts from the course. So these are the concepts we covered. This is the only things you can talk about. Out of these 9, features and benefits, personas, writing ad copy, brand voice, writing for radio, brand tone, brand trust, taglines, public service announcements. These are your choices. Out of those 9, which you've already written about and found research on, again, work smarter, not harder. You have half the script already written because you have annotated bibliographies and you wrote about all of these concepts. Choose the top 3. That's whatever you want. Features and benefits, brand tone, taglines, whatever you want. Choose 3 out of these 9, and then you're going to talk about the research. Present 2 of your outside research sources for this, and explain the information that you kind of got from the research and how that helped you, create the Lucky Dog Rescue Orlando campaign pieces. Talk about these concepts in terms of how the research better informed you so that you could actually apply what you learned in terms of, the Lucky Dog Rescue Orlando features and benefits. If you're writing about personas or target audience profiles, who was that target audience? If you're writing about brand trust, you can talk about developing brand trust. You can use the case study for that one because that went into big detail. The case study can be one of the things that you mentioned. So what you want to focus on with these concepts, remember, just these 9 are all we're writing about. You're choosing 3 of these 9, and you're really talking about them in terms of the work that you do now in your future classes and in your professional career. I mean, you never know. You may be working as a designer and suddenly someone's going to say, you know what, this client needs a tagline. So let's all get together and write some taglines. You may be called on to do taglines or create public service announcements or help with any kind of copywriting. Here's the thing with copywriting. In the old days, there was a whole person that was a copywriter. Nowadays, people are using AI. The one thing AI can't do is be really super creative. You can pump into an AI generator the parts from the creative brief and have it crank out really generic copy. But you, with copywriting experience, because you gained that experience in this class, it's something you can put on your resume. Copywriting is what differentiates you from all the other applicants of jobs that aren't copywriters, that don't write, that don't want to write. You have this as an extra. I call it the Felix the Cat magic bag of tricks. You got an extra trick in your back pocket by putting this into your bag. So being a copywriter may not be what you want to do all the time, but being that you have the experience now, you've written copy across 3 different media types, that this is something that may serve you in the future. So as you're thinking about the synthesis of the 3 concepts you're choosing, think about not only what you did in this class, but how these 3 concepts may come to benefit you in the future. Okay? All right, so that's what we got going on this week. Any questions from you guys that are here? I'm going to keep this short today because there's an issue with Zoom. I want to make sure that we get a recording for those who couldn't make it or couldn't log in. Okay. Was I clear about the reflection video? Remember, 2 to 3 minutes on 3 of these concepts. Talk about the research that you already wrote about. That's why we have you do the annotated bibliography. You have access to all this research you did on these concepts, and you've written a summary of each one. So you basically have that part of the script written. You've defined all 9 of these concepts as the first part of your mastery journal every week. So you have the definition. And then every week we applied these concepts to not only the case study, but the work that you did when you were writing print ads for Lucky Dog in week 1, when you were writing a radio script and a video script. There was things here that tie into these concepts in everything we did all month long. Okay. So make sure, I want you to appear on camera. I know some people don't make you, but it's really important that you're comfortable. I really want you to be in the video, even if it's just the stand-up. You can say, "Hi, I'm Elena Rogel, and today I'm going to tell you about features versus benefits, brand voice, and taglines." Then you can go into your slideshow or whatever you want. If you want to use lower thirds and you're really comfortable in Premiere Pro, go right ahead. If you're not showing the full reference in your overlay with a lower third or something, have a reference list at the back. Again, you have all of the APA style stuff done in your annotated bibliography. So on the research that you use, just copy and paste right out of your annotated bibliography that beginning piece that has the full reference. Okay? All right. Again, most of it's already written. I don't know if anybody ever told you that, but really, if you think about it, you've already got most of this done. And then you have a lot of the visuals too, because you can use your own Lucky Dog pieces if you want. You can find others that if you need visuals for if you're doing slides. If you are just talking on camera, which is fine, and using lower thirds, one thing I ask is that you make sure your camera's not like this. So let me turn it on so I can give you the full effect. I hate this when in the back I can see your ceiling fan flying around over your head. That's very distracting. And I used to teach some incoming freshmen here at Full Sail, and smoke alarm batteries were the other thing. People weren't checking their smoke alarms, and they'd be recording, and there'd be this beep. My critique, I'd go, please check your batteries in your smoke alarm. So make sure you're in a good, quiet area to do this. And you guys are great. I don't even have to remind you of this. Okay. If you're watching this on the video and you have any questions about anything that I went over, feel free to reach out and ask me about that. If you tried to log into Zoom today and couldn't, we are having technical issues with Zoom. It's at Zoom's end, I think, but it's interfering with how FSO manages Zoom. So if this recording doesn't show up, what I'm going to do is I'll put an announcement on your homepage. You know, when you're on your dashboard, when you first log in, those announcements that I can see some people never read. Um, I always leave information there for you guys, like when things are posted or if there's some kind of event going on. I'm going to post the link to the video that's up on Zoom so that you can do it that way. So, in case the archive doesn't show up in meetings by the end of the day. All right. Reach out to me if you have any questions on anything. Um, if you are here and hopefully this Zoom issue is fixed on Wednesday, we're going to do a little delving into month 5 and what design research is all about and what Professor Argo is expecting from you guys. He teaches a little different than me. So, it's gonna be a little bit of a shift, but it's a good shift, and the way you attack the mastery journals is different, but I'll get into that in our second session on Wednesday, okay? All right, I'm gonna turn off the recording now because I have no questions from my live audience, and then if these guys want to sit around and chat about things, that will be great, but let me